There are many ways to understand a country. Through its history, through its landscape, through its people, and sometimes through the rituals that bring them together. Sweden is a country shaped by its seasons, by the balance between light and darkness, nature and city, solitude and community. A country that has learned to live with those contrasts. And in winter, Stockholm brings them into focus. The cold that makes warmth matter, the darkness that makes light essential, and the places people choose to gather. Stockholm is a city of water, bridges, and districts with distinct personalities, one that only begins to make sense when you see how its islands connect.
It can be a bit of a confusing city since it's a city on water. It's been called Venice of the North. And I remember the first night we met, I asked you, do you know your way home?
Yeah.
You pointed the opposite direction.
I was lost.
Because it gets a bit confusing, all the bridges and all the islands. So Stockholm is built on 14 islands. It gets a bit disorienting. You got to know the islands. Some of them correspond to the boroughs and have different sort of characteristics and personalities. But it all started with Gamla stan, the old town. It's actually called City Island from the beginning, and that's like 1,000 years ago. They started building settlements and stuff there. In 1252, a guy named Birger Jarl, one of our kings or jarls, named Stockholm a city for the first time. It developed and became what we know today. But it's a teeny tiny island. You've been there.
Yeah.
You walk around it in 15, 20 minutes perhaps. It's one of the best preserved medieval towns in Europe. And from there, the city spread out,
To move through Stockholm is to realize that each neighborhood carries its own mood. Some feel creative and restless, some polished and old world, some quieter, more local, more lived in. And the bars reflect all of it, each one shaped by the street it sits on and the people who keep returning.
You have Södermalm, South Borough, which used to be working class area. It's the biggest island. That's where everything arrived to Stockholm. So it used to be the working class area. The last 50, 60 years it's been heavily gentrified. I'd perhaps compare it to Brooklyn. People who live there, they sort of want to keep that sort of direct, perhaps a little rough and tumble feeling, but it's super gentrified now, so it's very hipster, it's very creative, lots of media people, advertisers, art people, musicians. It really has a very clear, distinct personality. It's the opposite of the East Borough. The East Borough, that's old money. That's expensive, it's very polished, it's nice. The South and East are sort of opposites, but we unite in the sort of eccentricity or that strong personality. And then you have Vasastan. It's one of the youngest boroughs, and that's where people, when they've sort of grown tired of Södermalm, they're starting a family, they move there. If you're a new Stockholmer, if you moved in from the countryside, that's where you want to end up. It's the interior design people, it's the bobos, it's the people who actually use LinkedIn.
Okay. I love that. I'm going to use that analogy, yeah.
A lot of good restaurants, a lot of good bars. It has a distinct personality, but it's sort of a little bit nervous, caught in between the workers' neighborhood and the posh, the nobility of the Östermalm. And then you've got the weirdest borough of them all, which is Kungsholmen, King's Island. Nobody knows what that is.
But it's named.
Actually, you'd think that that's where the castle is. It should be the crown, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's perhaps one of the islands that doesn't really have a bar culture, a distinct bar culture, which we're sort of waiting for. Then you have, of course, Norrmalm, which is the central borough. That's where all the stores are. That's most of the big restaurants are. They're really high-profile bars. But that's also a place that people really travel to. Not a lot of people live in city center.
Yeah.
In Stockholm, the mood of a neighborhood doesn't stop at the door. It follows you inside. A rooftop bar speaks differently than one tucked in a basement. The bars become mirrors of the streets around them, some polished, some playful, some quietly warm. And through them, the city slowly reveals itself.
16 years ago when I started out, when I had my first Sazerac, there were like 3-4 proper cocktail bars in Stockholm, and they were good. Then something happened, it just blew up, and now the base level of bars in Sweden overall is so high now. It's super good. You had this influx of Swedish bartenders who had worked abroad in London, in Paris, in Copenhagen, in the States, and they came back with good ideas, and everyone wanted to be Sasha Petrask, and it just took off. We have I'd say some of the best bars, at least in Europe at the moment.
When you land in a new city, how do you find what the locals already know? Not the names on a list, but the rooms with a pulse, a point of view, and a reason people keep returning. For me, the best way is through someone who lives the culture from the inside. In Stockholm, that was my good friend Bella, bartender, forager, author, and one of the most genuinely connected people in the Swedish bar scene. She didn't just know where to go, she knew why those places mattered.
For me, Bella is a very curious bartender. She knows the people behind the bars, not only like the bars themselves, and she's very passionate about the industry and also like the hospitality.
She has a very broad perspective since she had traveled around all of Sweden, working and visiting most of the distilleries as well. She has also been in Stockholm a lot. Perfect person to show you around.
Definitely super knowledgeable in both produce and distilleries, and I mean just general knowledge.
She's a perfect guide for going around and show people different cool bars with different attitudes, places and venues, you can say.
I think Bella is well connected with the industry. She has also, visiting places for real and trying places out and exploring kind of mind.
Yeah. So Bella, I feel like we should have some tropical drinks right now.
I know, pina coladas.
I heard that, and look at, what's this nice white sand you guys have here in Sweden?
I know, it's a special kind of white.
Thanks for taking the time to work on our tans and show me the best of Stockholm in terms of bars and bartenders.
Well, you are so welcome.
All right, let's get back to tanning.
Okay.
I need to look good for the camera.
Yes, me too.
To understand Stockholm, you have to move through it by subway, across the water, over the bridges, until the neighborhoods change and somewhere new opens up.
So where are we heading to right now, and which bar and bartender are we meeting?
We are actually heading to Söder right now, and we're going to Slussen. First we're going to walk to the Gondolen.
Oh, I heard about that place. Really nice views.
Yeah, it's a lovely view. And then we're going to go to Häktet, which is like an old jail.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to meet Svante, who's a real artist behind the bar.
Awesome.
You will see, he's so creative and fun.
If you have a view like this, it just makes it a lot better.
I know, it could be a crappy bar as well, but it's not. It's actually one of the best, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
In Sweden we call it ytspänning, which means when it's just floating on the edge and you have to sip it before you lift it.
There's also something really cool about the menus that they're doing here as well.
Yeah, they put a lot of work in their menus. You want it to be fun to read it and full of like information about everything. So you actually know what you're drinking and you know how you're highlighting the brands that are in it. I think that's very nice. This is a fun drink though. This is the green elevator because this place has a famous elevator. So this is actually a really fun old like 80s, 90s drink.
Yeah, but here, if you're going to do any drink, you got to do the martini.
You got to do the martini, but I think also you have to do the elevator.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end of this episode.
No. Now we're going to see Svante. He's so cool. I mean, his menus are just crazy. So he's done like a Tinder menu when you get an iPhone of different brand ambassadors and you just swipe to their profile and choose a favorite drink. And he did a Lego menu, so everything is in Lego. And you can sit on the tables and build with Lego and stuff like that. Yeah, he's done so many cool
So
menus.
it sounds like creativity is off the chain with this next
He's the
guy.
most creative one, I would say.
It's a hidden entrance, right? Is this?
It's a little hidden
like
entrance.
Like a speakeasy?
Yeah,
if
it's
you
like a
will?
little speakeasy. It's not so big, but it's very popular. Like sometimes the lines are really long. But it's one of these places who's also won a lot of prizes.
Häktet opened 14 years ago, and the facility we are in is an old prison. It's very old, so we're not allowed to change stuff on the outside and front. We can't do whatever we want. We need to go through people and
Preserve it.
and talk. Yeah, it was an old prison, so why doesn't we keep like the prison, the Häktet kind of vibe? On the summertime, it's one of the, I would say, best water holes, you can say, where you can arrive.
Talk to me about this area in general.
We're on the south part of Stockholm, you can say. So it's an island. So we are, I would say, in the middle. The street over here, called Hornsgatan, it's a very crowded place to walk on. And it's also a very lot of traffic. It's not a destination to go to. It's because you can end up here just walking, because you can say.
You said you've done 37 menus
Yeah,
in 9
I
years.
think this one was a big hit, because when we did it, I worked actually with Björn, who works at Hedda right now. I said to him, let's do an emoji menu, and he was like, what? Yours was like, yeah, let's do an emoji menu. What do you mean? Just using emojis instead of text, you can say. And he ran with it, and we said, okay, let's do a big menu with like smaller text. This is a martini kind of cocktail with apples, a little bit of herbs, and it's a bit strong. With Swedish and British alcohol vibes. And then this is more like the name of it, and it's a punching cocktail. My personal favorite is this one.
PlayStation 2, man.
We did cocktails from different video games, and this was actually very popular. Coming from a restaurant family, you can say my mother worked in a restaurant and my cousins and everything like that, but my father is a military, and I chose not to do the military thing and went for the restaurant industry instead and started working as a chef for 4 years. And then I switched to the bartender side, you can say. But also underneath that, I went to Magaluf and did a bar school there for 2 weeks. But it was fun. It was fun. It was nice. I was 18. It was a good kickoff. And then I found a school here in Sweden called International Bar Management. When you graduated, you were graduating like a good bartender, you can say. And after that, we started working. I worked at Marie-Laveau for 6 years. And then I had 2 small jobs in between here, and I've been here for almost 9 years.
What ingredients are important in the cocktails that you make?
In my point of view, what I need to make cocktails, I need sugar, lemon lime, ice. These are the 3 ingredients I think is my key ingredients. You can make so much with just these 3 ingredients. Sour cocktail to a sweeter cocktail to a stiff cocktail. In my point of view, I think as well that there's nothing that beats fresh lime juice, sugar, and rum to a daiquiri.
What is an ingredient in Sweden that people know here, but the rest of the world might not know that should?
I think the world has heard of it. It's Swedish punch. It's a sugarcane-based liqueur, I will say. That liqueur, if people can get it and start to experience a little bit with that, I think that's going to be a cool thing to do. Instead of getting Swedish blueberries to the American ones.
I hear you, man. I got you.
Then you can actually get blueberry flavors. So yeah.
What makes Stockholm cocktail scene different from other cities, in your opinion?
We Swedes are a little bit sweeter, on the sweeter side, you can say, because we love sugar. I would say. And also salt, but we balancing cocktails in different way than other countries, you can say, because their flavor profile is different from our palates and stuff like that. So it depends on what kind of palate you have.
If Svante reveals one side of Stockholm, Erik reveals another. This is bartending as a long conversation, unhurried, precise, and built on the kind of confidence that doesn't need to raise its voice. Different rooms, different philosophies, different ways of making you feel welcome.
So this house it's quite new, but 5 years old. Before it was nothing, and this whole area for a lot of decades it was very different. So it started about 10-something years ago. The square over there, they rebuilt everything, opened a couple new hotels with it. Same time they started renovating this whole street they were on. For some years this was only a construction site. And once they were done, this popped up. Some other spots, restaurant, bars down the street, and over the years more places open up. So this has become a much more lively, kind of forgotten part of Stockholm that was for a long time. It was not a part of the nightlife or like that kind of, you know, restaurant, bars.
Yeah, I mean, this is super amazing area. Obviously the view, when I first got up here, you got that big red tower as a landmark, you know. Just sitting here enjoying a cocktail is really awesome, especially here in the center of Sweden.
He's such a nice person, knowledgeable, worked a long time in the industry, and he has fun collaborations, makes glassware, and he makes his own gin, and he's just a really, really cool bartender.
And he's got a cool style. I was
Yeah,
looking
he's
at some
got
of
a
his
cool style.
social media feed.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Pretty young as a kid or a teenager, I started getting into flavors like cooking and those kind of stuff. At the same time, like 14, 15, I was fascinated by the aesthetics that are glassware and pop culture wise. You know, in movies you have drinks, you have bartenders, you have James Bond, you know, all those kind of stuff as well. When I was like 15, I bought a vintage shaker just randomly, you know, and started buying glassware and stuff because I liked it. I was not thinking like, okay, I'm gonna make drinks. And then once you start drinking, Sweden is usually quite young. Yeah, so it wasn't legal.
Right.
Of course, I had like just beers and, you know, straight vodkas, whatever you could get. But then when I got the chance to actually mix with something, I started discovering you could actually make it nicer, tastier, even though it's very basic, you know, drinks. And what I discovered with that was that I could make other people happy with it. I made a drink and someone has tasted, oh, can I also have one? That's essentially where it started for me. When I finished school, me and a friend, we had our own flat, we had parties all the time, started mixing drinks. And then I went to bartending school, European bartending school, when I was turning 19. And I did that for a month, went back home and started working with it. That same nerve, like how can something I create or just, you know, be a part of and in the service actually make people smile and, you know, be happy. That's really cool. That's, I think, what really caught me. I've been and am very driven by spirits, maybe quite traditional bartender like that. Like I really like spirits to build around. I like to explore and expand, but I don't spend my hours in the prep in the kitchen that much. I do, but it's more focused on using the ingredients in the bar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Let's say you have a berry and it's like, okay, how can we use this best? But if someone else does a wrong, like the syrup, I love to play around with that as an ingredient, mixing with other stuff. More than actually making the syrup or the corial or the fat wash or, you know.
What is one Swedish ingredient that the world needs to know?
I would say the Swedish blueberry, actually. It's not only Swedish, but this part of the, you know, it's in Europe as well, but it's so different from like American blueberries.
Is it more acidic or?
It's a bit more acidic, a deep red, bluish all the way through. If you squeeze one, you're gonna get juice all over your fingers. It's tart. It's also quite hard to use. That's the thing with it. Blueberries are a favorite berry in Sweden.
In your opinion, what makes Stockholm's cocktail scene different from other cities?
Right now, a good combination of knowledge and craftsmanship and innovation as well. Spread out, even the regions, like the parts of the city, the bars. It is a really good community. And that helps a lot. People are friends. They share knowledge with each other as well. Humbly, I would say Stockholm is in some ways the frontier of bars in this part of Europe, at least.
I want to talk about Hugo because, you know, I've heard that name in circles and what he's doing for the cocktail industry, especially here in Stockholm. You know, why did you choose him as one to highlight?
I always liked Hugo. He's really cool, and he actually started off as a chef, and he runs the bar in his family restaurant. So it's called the Artillery, the restaurant, but his bar is called Stjärtilleriet, which is like a fun name because stjärt means ass.
Okay.
It's very playful, and he has a very fun menu, very playful, childish, but it's fun for grown-ups to there as well, and you can color the menu.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, and the names are just like, I get embarrassed, like I'm too prude for that, but I think it's fun.
It's our parents' restaurant, so we are nepo babies.
Yeah.
If you look at it one way, but we also employed children, and we had no other option than to be a part of the restaurant.
Did you have to, like, you know, when it was, they said, hey, we want you to be part of the business.
Yeah.
Was it like, hey, choose your
No,
what you want
it
to
was
do?
you are now gonna become a bartender, take over the bar, and that was 6 years ago. I've been working in the industry all my life, both in the kitchen and on the floor, but never in the bar. So it was a wild choice getting me behind a bar, which I never been before.
Yeah, same story. Started waitering, doing that sort of stuff, and then when the time came, it was sort of, we need bartenders.
Hey, figure it
Jump
out.
in, yeah.
What ingredients are most important to you in crafting, you know, cocktails and wine?
I would say the unexpected one, the one that sits in your memory after you experienced a dish or a cocktail. We always try to combine stuff in a way that it's easy to digest, like from your mind's perspective, but also has this edge that's a little bit interesting, that it stands out in a way. Packaging it in a safe way, but when you're experiencing it, it's something new still. That's usually with a unique produce or a combination that's not very common. One of my favorite one is sugar kelp. We have a lot of that growing through our coast, through our whole land. We buy ours from Gothenburg. I would say it's a super fresh and a little bit funky ingredient that still people have a lot of memories with, because everybody has accidentally swallowed some seawater when they... People mostly have good memories with the sea, and it's a fun way to just combine that with different unexpected ingredients as well.
What we sort of like to do is use provocative ingredients in a way where we make them accessible. For example, the lingonberry one we did with mackerel vinegar, where you take something sort of unordinary and make it accessible.
What makes Stockholm's cocktail scene different, in your opinion, from other cities?
I think it's quite competitive, actually, both for good and bad. But it's that way. I think also the Swedes doesn't have a typical cocktail culture, because we drink beer and wine mostly, and spirits like just from a shot glass. So I think we have to try harder to get the Swedes to actually get to drink drinks as well. Otherwise they choose their beer or the wine, or just a shot aside. Or at least from my perspective, that's how I see it. Like, we have to make it as good as possible to get people to convert to cocktail culture instead of just drinking wine and beer. We like high flavors here. Like, we put salt and sugar on everything and fat on everything, so the food here is quite flavorful. So I think the drinking has to represent that as well. We don't like too sweet stuff, but it has to be like a mouthful of flavor. The only way we can do that is with a lot of high quality ingredients.
Stockholm is still sort of a small capital, so the cocktail scene is quite small compared to a bigger city, so you have to diversify more here than you sort of have to do in New York, I guess.
Yeah.
You can have 10 like speakeasies with sort of the same vibe, but here if you have two, one is gonna go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So you have to really like work on your concept and do your own things.
Talk to me about this area.
The restaurant was still here when we opened the place, and it's a quite posh area. The actual thing we tried to do was make a bar that was not that posh or pretentious, the other way around. Make it very accessible for everybody to feel welcome and not take themselves so serious, get that stick out of their ass. And we help them drag it out with our teeth.
Here, color.
But we do like contrasts. That's one of our favorite words. So since we're located in sort of a financial district, sort of the posh part of Stockholm, we sort of wanted to lean into the opposite of that and do the pencils. Like, it's supposed to be fun to go to cocktail bars.
Let's talk about the final bartender that you want to highlight for this episode, Hedda.
Hedda Bruce. Well, I think she's one of the original bartenders of Stockholm, you would say, even though she's very young, I would say. Yeah. But she was in a place called Marie Laveau, which is one of the original cool nightclubs and bars in Stockholm, where sort of all the bartenders come from, and then they spread out. She's the bar manager at Häktet, but she works more abroad now as well. She's not behind the bar so much anymore, but she works globally with the bar industry, talking about sustainability. She has bar programs, and she's very internationally known.
I don't think I ever had a plan to work as a bartender. I started maybe when I was 19. I wanted to move from my home city, which is very, very small. It's like 60,000 people living in that city. I wanted to move to a bigger city and try that before settling down in what life now is about. But I found this bartender school, which was like a 1-year education bartender school. You didn't do very much drinks school time. It was more about reading history and like the productions, a lot of blind tasting and how to maybe more managing a bar. Because before that, I didn't know anything about alcohol. I thought it was fun. I went out with my friends, but I didn't know there was so much to learn about it. I don't think you ever can learn everything, but it's always things to learn, and you meet so much nice people. If you want to travel, it's like a very easy industry to travel and still do your profession.
Talking about Stockholm's cocktail scene, what makes it different, in your opinion, from other cities?
I think Stockholm bar scene is very curious. It is quite small city compared to other big cities in the world, which also makes it, I think we're very close to each other, like bartenders, but also like chefs and brands. I think all of us work very close to each other, which is nice. We have a strong like relationship to each other, like brands, bartenders, chefs, which makes, I think, Stockholm stand out.
What is one Swedish ingredient that the world should know about, needs to know about?
Our berries, like the typical like forest berries, like lingonberries, etc., very sour ones. We can do pretty cool stuff with it in the drinks. Whole world already knows about aquavit, but it can be very different to each other. It can be aged, it can be more dill flavors. I would say maybe one of my favorite herb, it's sorrel. I remember just picking it as a kid and eat it. It has this like sour taste, but making like a syrup out of that. It's one of my like favorite forest flavors, I would say.
To find another side of a city, ask the people who shape it where they go when they're off the clock, what they look for, what kind of room they choose when the night finally belongs to them.
What are some of the neighborhoods that you like to go to have a drink or go to relax?
Södermalm is for sure one of my favorite areas to hang out in. When it comes to cafes, to restaurants, to bars, it's like a diversity of all of that. It's a very cool district, I would say. Otherwise, I like Östermalm. It feels a little more luxury, I would say, and the vibe from there. I tend to end up in one of those areas if I go out.
I love to go to my own place. At the same time, I hate it because every time you are here, you spot like stuff like that. So yeah. But I love going here to drink in my own place, but also Gondolen.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
You were there earlier.
Yeah. It's really nice.
I love to go in there and having a chat with my friends who work in the bar and having a glass over there. Also, love hanging around in hotel bars. Cutting away from the restaurant bar type, just because the hotel bar kind of vibe. I have a neighborhood bar just around where I live called Children of Fam. Good friends of mine who work there as well, and just grabbing there, doing a quick daiquiri before I come home and after a good shift, so yeah.
I would say the most distinct one is Södermalm. Yeah. It's sort of the hipster area, or what you would call it, whereas Östermalm, Norrmalm, that sort of blends together more in a way, but Södermalm has its own personality.
It's more energized I would say than here. Okay. But there's a few nice places here as well.
If you want a cheap beer and a good vibe, you go to Södermalm. Yeah. Whereas if you're looking to do fine dining or spend a bit, you stay around this area.
The bartenders I met are part of something larger. Different districts, different rooms, different philosophies, and a shared respect for the city around them. Stockholm is bigger than any one bar, but through these rooms, it starts to come into focus.
Stockholm is still, it's the biggest city in Sweden, but Sweden is a teeny tiny country where I think larger Stockholm is pushing 2 million, but the city center is a few 100,000, which means that also the bar scene is quite small. Since the bar community is so small, you'll meet one bartender one day in one bar, you'll meet them another day in another bar at the other end of town. So I think it's civilization, You don't find bars in the desert. A bar is somewhere you're meant to meet people. You have this as a sort of a lubricant to understanding each other. And you can have a drink, and you can have a conversation, and then you say, good meeting you, and you leave, you know? That's what holds a society, a community together. It's more than just flavors and spirits and cocktails and recipes and that. It's at the core of what a city is. You know? Without the bars and the restaurants, what is it actually?
No, I mean, you're exactly right. That's something that I've seen, and this is why this series is important, because food and drink is the foundation.
It's civilization.
This has been one of your passions. You started Sipping Society with other well-known people in the industry. You've been all over the city trying amazing cocktails. I wouldn't have known the city, wouldn't have known the cocktail scene or these amazing bartenders or bars without the help from people like you. So I really, really appreciate it.
Happy to have you, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
Come back in the summer.
I know.
In Stockholm, drinking culture is not just about what people serve. It's about what people create together once they're in the room. Conversation, trust, atmosphere, a sense of welcome that does not need to announce itself. Ingredients carry memory. Rituals give the night a shape, and the people behind the bar make it feel personal. Stockholm offers more than a great night out. It offers a portrait of Sweden shaped by its people, its rituals, its ingredients, and the places people choose to gather. And maybe that's what stays with you. Not only what's in the glass, but the feeling that the city lets you in, one room, one conversation, one welcome at a time.